All right, let's dive in. Today, we are unpacking an absolute classic from the legendary Munshi Premchand. It's called Kavach, which translates to the armor. And trust me, this story is a heavy hitter. It's all about power, temptation, and really the ultimate test of a person's soul. So, to really get into the spirit of this story, let's start with a really big question, a pretty profound one, actually. How much is your soul worth? I mean, seriously, what's your price? What would it take for you to throw your deepest values right out the window? Just keep that question in the back of your mind as we go through this. Okay, listen to this line. I have chosen you. I know you will not betray me. Chilling, right? These are the words that kick everything off. And yeah, they sound like words of trust. But believe me, they are dripping with a dark, terrifying purpose. This is a king talking to his most trusted advisor, and it's the setup for a truly murderous request. So let's get into it. Section 1, A King's Broken Heart. This is all about passion, power, and unrequited love. We're in this princely state, right? And the king, well, he's a passionate guy, generous, even a bit of a rebel. But here's the thing, he is completely ruled by his heart. And at this very moment, that heart is absolutely shattered. At the heart of this story, you've got this incredible contrast between two main figures. First, there's the king. He's all passion, all emotion, just desperate for love and totally consumed by his desires. And then you've got our narrator. He's the complete opposite. He's a trusted official who prides himself on being ruled by duty, staying neutral, and keeping himself far, far away from all the palace drama. So what's causing all this turmoil? Well, it all boils down to unrequited love. The king is just hopelessly, head over heels, infatuated with a woman in his court named Sarfaraz. The problem? She does not love him back. Not even a little. He's given her everything. He's even acted like her servant, but she is just cold as ice. And this is where it gets really intense. The king calls the narrator late one night, but he's not summoning him as a ruler. He's reaching out as a completely heartbroken man. And listen to how he describes his love. A sweet but fatal poison. The siren song that shatters the heart. I mean, wow, he sees his own love as this beautiful, destructive force that he has absolutely no control over. All right, next up, a murderous request. We're going from heartbreak to a thirst for blood, because this story isn't just about a sad king. Oh no, that deep sadness is about to curdle into something way, way more dangerous. His despair is twisting into a cold, calculated plan for revenge. So what's the trigger? The breaking point is a stack of love letters. The king finds them and has this terrible realization. Sarfraz isn't just being coy or innocent, she's passionately in love with someone else. And just like that, poof, all his sadness evaporates and it's replaced by this absolute tidal wave of cold, murderous fury. So the king figures out who his rival is. And who does he call? The one person he trusts completely, our narrator. But he's not calling for advice or a shoulder to cry on. No, he's calling him to carry out a deadly mission. Bottom line, he wants his rival assassinated, period. Okay, part 3, the seduction of power. This is an offer that seems too good to refuse. Now you hear this shocking command, and you're thinking, of course the narrator's going to refuse, right? But hold on, the king doesn't just make a request. He makes an offer. An offer so huge, it's designed to completely silence your conscience with the promise of absolute power. And just look at what's on the table. This is insane. We're talking unlimited wealth straight from the imperial bank. High-ranking titles, huge estates, unquestioned authority. I mean, the whole shebang. But the real kicker? The power to write his own decrees. The king literally says, you write it, I'll sign it, no questions asked. This isn't just a bribe. It's an offer to change your entire destiny. So there it is. The ultimate choice is laid bare. Is this his one shot at greatness, that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity you always hear about? Or is this a trap, a beautiful, golden path that leads straight to the damnation of his soul? This is the moment. And you can practically see the wheels turning in his head as he starts to rationalize it all. He tells himself, hey, the world's a battlefield. To get to the top, you gotta be willing to make sacrifices. He even starts justifying the murder itself, saying, well, the victim isn't really innocent, is he? He stole the king's love. And finally, he lands on the big one. This isn't a crime, it's my destiny. And this is the chilling thought that seals the deal.
The successful man's character is written in letters of blood. He convinces himself that history only remembers the ruthless, that all the so-called great men had blood on their hands. And with that single dark thought, he accepts the mission. His conscience is silenced. Or so he thinks. Okay, on to our next section, a crisis of conscience, because a single gaze is about to change everything. So he's accepted the mission. The plan is on. He's packing his bags, he's got his revolvers, he's even got a false beard. He is ready to go that very night. But before he walks out the door, he makes one small, fateful stop. And that stop is going to change everything. Where does he go? He steps into his prayer room, just a quiet little space in his house. It's pure routine, something he does without even thinking about it. But in that room, hanging on the wall, is something that has been watching over him for his entire life. And then he looks up, and his eyes lock with the painted eyes in a portrait of his deceased mother. And in that one single silent moment, his entire world just shifts on its axis. Listen to how he describes this moment. Those were not the eyes of a painting. They were alive, sharp, like spears piercing my soul. I mean, can you feel that? Suddenly, that gaze isn't just paint on a canvas anymore. It feels real. It feels like it's judging him, cutting right through all those clever rationalizations he built up. It's the voice of his conscience, waking up at the absolute last second. And this brings us to the final act, the armor of integrity. It's about choosing exile over a stained soul. Because in that one single instant, the spell is shattered. The allure of power, the promise of wealth, it all just vanishes. All of his carefully constructed justifications just crumble into dust, and he knows, without a doubt, what he has to do, no matter what it costs him. So what does he do? He marches straight back to the palace, finds the king, and just flat out refuses. He looks him in the eye and says, "I cannot do this." And the king? Oh, he is furious. He calls him a coward, tells him he's a failure, that he's thrown away his destiny. The king banishes him on the spot, tells him to be gone by morning. And so the narrator loses it all, his job, his home, his status, everything. But in exchange for all that, he saves something so much more valuable. He literally chooses his own conscience over an entire kingdom. He chooses his mother's memory over the king's favor. And this, right here, is the meaning of the title. Kavach, the armor. The story is showing us that real protection, the only armor that can't be broken, isn't made of steel, and it's not built from wealth or power. It's the unbreakable integrity of your own conscience. That's the real armor. And that really just leaves us with one final thought, something for you to think about. When you're faced with that kind of temptation, when the world dangles everything you've ever wanted in front of you, but asks for a piece of your soul in return, what's the armor that protects you? I really hope this breakdown gave you a whole new appreciation for this absolute gem of a story. If you enjoyed this deep dive, you know what to do. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today.